Jobs that involve lifting nearly always involve some risk because lifting stores up energy in the load. If something goes wrong with the lift and the load falls, that energy is released with potentially devastating results. The Gida platform stands in the North Sea off the coast of Norway. Late one evening, a supply boat was expected, and the deck crew was rearranging the deck load to make sure there was enough space to store supplies coming out on the boat. During the night, the supply boat successfully unloaded. When the day shift came on, the new crane driver decided they could tidy up the deck a little, as more space was now available.
He saw that there was a few things on deck that wasn't according to the expected standard. He saw a couple of containers in a place they shouldn't be, and he also saw the two chemical pods being stacked on top of each other.
The team felt it would be safer to put these pods side by side.
Ola, we're going to hook the crane onto the top chemical pod, and he decided to climb the integrated ladder. At the same time he was dragging the chain sling towards him. He had to hold on to the ladder, and he was also communicating with the crane driver, so he was multitasking up there. Then he asked the crane driver to lower the hook from the crane. That came too low. Then he asked for that to be hoisted up a little bit.
But there was a problem that none of the team could see.
Ola was crushed between the container and the frame of the tank.
Nobody had realized that the hook was snagging the frame. It lifted the side of the pod, disengaging the stacking lugs on that side.
After it hit the nearby container, it turned a quarter turn and landed on the deck. Ola fell down and was lying beside the tank. He was not trapped under the tank. The flagman, he was there immediately. The crane driver saw it in his camera that a terrible accident had happened, so he called for the nurse.
As I went towards the place where the accident happened, I used my eyes and I was thinking what can have happened. And my first thought was that Ola had fallen down and injured his head because his head was full of blood. But the flagman could then tell me that he had got the container in his chest. And I still thought he had fallen down because of the blood. And I asked what was the weight of the container, and when he then told me 1.8 ton, I think it was very much. And I then started to check the parts of Ola's body where he had got the container. I quickly understood that he was so hard injured that there was not so much for me to do.
Offshore priest Arvid Dwight arrived on the first helicopter out to the platform just a couple of hours later.
The rig is kind of frozen. Nothing's going on, and I found the guys closest involved in the accident, they were broke down, totally broke down. They were having a very bad time.
When I came into the OIM office where they were sitting, the crane operator screamed to me, "Oh, Bodil, I've killed the man, I've killed the man." Yeah. And then one of the flagmen said, "Oh, we have killed the man."
They were a good team. And the crane operator said, it's so unbelievable. This morning it was a cup of coffee and a smile before starting to work from Ola. He was always the smiling and the light guy. And know this?
The decision was made to fly Ola's body out on the next helicopter, and Arvid made arrangements for his teammates to say a final farewell.
We're now going to take him to the helicopter, and if you want to see him, you can come. And two of them came, and the nurse. Together we helped them to take a proper farewell, and then the door to the helicopter deck was opened. This is a terrible noise, and you were kind of torn apart again from the kind of quiet farewell, and so we were in the tragedy.
This is not an isolated incident. There were 3 fatal lifting accidents in BP in 2002. The golden rule on lifting operations covers all work using cranes, hoists, or other mechanical lifting devices. Work must not begin unless a competent person has assessed the lift and determined the lift method and the equipment to be used. Operators of powered lifting devices must have been trained and certified for that equipment. Rigging of the load has to be carried out by a competent person. Lifting devices and equipment must have been certified for use within the last 12 months. The load must not exceed dynamic and/or static capacities of the lifting equipment. Any safety devices installed on lifting equipment must be operational. All lifting devices and equipment must be visually examined before each lift by a competent person. Lifting, whether using simple hand-operated mechanical devices or more complex ones, must only be carried out by trained and competent people using approved and recently inspected equipment. The area underneath or potentially affected by the lift must be kept under control and clear of unnecessary people or equipment. On the Gide platform, they'd been very proud of their safety record until Ola's tragic death. It was a terrible shock for them. It shows how easily small errors can combine to create a major accident. As a result of the investigation, managers have tightened up the rules on container stacking, on the hooking of loads, and now only the flagman or banksman can communicate with the crane driver. They've improved the way they assess and plan lifts and are encouraged to help each other to work safely. Most importantly, everyone knows, if it's unsafe, stop work.